I'm stepping out my comfort zone. I am really stepping out my comfort zone, not just because I'm standing here in this very, very public place. I'm stepping out my comfort zone because I am going to be basically documenting a challenge that I'm setting myself that will last for at least the next 9 months. That challenge? Well, it's about attaining my goals, or at least getting as close to them as I can. And all the problems, the issues, the successes and so on that go along with that, I'm going to be documenting in this channel. I've thought for a while now that the videos that I've been putting out, they're fine. They talk about the techniques and the models and what have you of well-being and coaching. But equally, that's it. They're a bit academic, or they're in the past. They're things that I've done already. Well-being and coaching, it really lives in the moment. So the best way of explaining it and giving examples of it is to be as close to that moment as possible. And that's why I'm going to do this. This isn't going to be something where, oh, I'm a coach, therefore I know all the right techniques. I know techniques that will help me get through things. I know techniques that will help me overcome obstacles and find solutions. It doesn't mean to say I'm going to be successful. It's going to show how I'm approaching the problems. It's going to be about not just finding what my goals are, but it's going to be about how I tackle the issues that are surrounding them, how I find the best way forward, how I prioritise things, and importantly, how I track the progress, which is really, really important. And that's something I'll share on every single video. I'll share how it's progressing and how I'm tracking that progress. I hear it quite a lot, people saying, I don't have goals, or they can't think of their goals. And they sometimes even ask me, do I actually need goals? Well, it's just a word at the end of the day. It doesn't mean that you've got to do anything massive, anything big. It's about what interests you, what excites you, where are your passions, and how can you live the way that you want to live? How can you do the things that you want to do? If you're happy with things being nice and simple, that's you attaining your goals. If you're happy with running a massive multinational company, then that's your goals. We are all different, and that's the important thing. We are all very different. The kind of things that I'm looking at for my goals, I can easily say, well, I want to be fitter, I want my business to be more successful. But at the end of the day, what does that actually mean? So what I'm going to show you now is how I have found things that actually mean something to me. So this is what's called a mind map, if you haven't come across them before. I will start with, in the middle of the page, simply, let's say goals. Like I said, I'm just looking for a word. I'm not looking for anything else just now. So the things that I'm looking for in my life just now, I'm looking for health. And these are things that are important to me. These are the things that I value. So health, business, creativity, finances, and I've got business. That's cool. So each of these we circle, and this is just like the first layer, if you like. So let's start with health. It's a good place to start with, something we can all recognise. Now, here's the thing. I want to be fitter, so I will put that in. So I want to be fitter. But what does fitter actually mean? Now, I actually go to the gym pretty regularly, but most of the things I do is resistance or weight training. So I've got strength, I don't have stamina, my cardio isn't that great. So what I'm looking for is stamina. And we'll leave that one there. Oh yeah, fitter, health, I suppose, weight. And what do I mean by that? What jumps into my mind when I think of weight? Well, probably losing weight. When it comes to business, moving on to that, you don't need to do these one by one. You can do them in whatever order you want. In fact, if you wanted to go back, for instance, if I suddenly thought, well, stamina, how do I know that I've improved my stamina? Well, walk distance, hill walk. Something I've always been curious about but never done, hill walking. So maybe that'd be two. And they might be ways of recognising what I've achieved, what the progress is. But that just came, like I say, that can go back and we can jump around these in any way we like. So business would be, well, obviously, I want it to be successful. I want to enjoy it, worthwhile, and pays for itself. I can control whether it's successful or not, I suppose, but nothing's really jumping out to me about that just now. But me enjoying it, making it worthwhile. It needs to be part of my values. And so that's where things like the worthwhile and the values and enjoying it is, well, I do enjoy well-being. And from that, the courses, workshops, one-to-one, and the videos just now. Yeah. Trust me, that says videos. No, and there could be more there. There could be more there as well. And worthwhile, how I feel, reduction of stress, which is one of the reasons that I started my own business. I know, it's a strange thing. Start your own business, become really dependent on it as a stress reduction exercise. I know, but that's what I did. Sometimes I can't actually read my own handwriting. I think you probably would agree with that. Anyway, creativity, music. I do like creating music, video, photography. What I know just now is, as much as I like creating music just now, I just want it for fun. I don't want to be doing too much of that. That's not one of my goals. That's not a target I have. But video and photography, improve. And finances, well, think pay me, company pays itself. And that sort of, whilst also being goals, it's also a target. It's also a how do you know success kind of thing. And that's it straight away. I'll go through, and what I'll do is I will list out now and go into the next stage, which is identifying what ones are actually important to you. So as we look around the mind map, what we're trying to do now is find what things are most important to me. What are the things that are really jumping out at me just now? Well, the things that are jumping out at me are stamina. I want to be fitter. I definitely want to lose weight. So that can all be in with that part. The business, I want the courses and the workshops are important to me. One-to-one, that kind of is there already, so I'm not too worried about that. But I do want to improve the courses and the workshops. And I want to get more and more into videos, like the YouTube channel, like this. An important one is obviously finance. So what have we got there? That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So that's 6 things. Now, I'm going to refine that a bit more off camera, then I'll show you my final list. Remember that none of this is set in stone. So this is just something to inspire us to what we're actually looking for. So I will have a look through this and show you the list that I finally come up with. But when you get that list, we'll just take a few things off here randomly. How do you track it? Let's put that to one side for a minute. And you may have heard of something called the Wheel of Life. Now, the Wheel of Life is a very simple concept. If we take something, a circle, we divide it into, and you can divide it into different things, but I'm going to divide it into 6. You can have more than that, but just now, just for simplicity's sake, I'm going to say 6. Now, the things that were important to me, if we even just look at the ones we've got here, you put them in, although courses, workshops. Now, let's just as an example say videos. What does that actually mean to me? Let's say it's actually YouTube, trying to improve on that. And then finances, let's say my income. So you can change the words. Do I want to put stamina in, or do I want general fitness? Or would losing weight help that? Let's just put it in as general fitness just now. See, it's not about taking the very last things on it and using that. It can be anything. And then is there anything else there that I want to track? Well, actually, one that we haven't done, but when I look at it now, and again, I'm saying this again, we don't need to go with the ones that are at the end. We don't need to do the ones we're highlighting, but one that jumps out at me now is stress. And this is an example of Wheel of Life. And what you do is each week you look at this and you consider how well am I getting on, and you score it 1 to 10. It was said to me a while back, don't use the number 7 because it's too easy. Each week you look at each of your categories and you go, what number's that? So let's say starting off, the workshops might be a 3, YouTube might be a 5, my income might be a 5, fitness, a 2. Stress is definitely a 2 just now. And the courses are a 3. Let's say it's that. And then next week I'll have done whatever I need to do. I might go, even before that I might go, the 2 5s, they're okay, but the ones that really need sorted just now are stress and fitness. I'll work on it, and at the end of the next week I then do it all again. So how am I getting on with courses? Okay, that's still a 3. Why is it a 3? Why is it not a 2? Why is it not a 4? When you do that, you actually start to think, okay, what do I need to do? What's actually getting in the way? And it highlights that, what's actually getting in the way. Especially if you start by saying, why is it not a 2? How do I make it a 4? Or even more? And that starts making you think, okay, I'm getting on well with one thing. How can I make it that bit better? You don't need to suddenly go, how do I make it a 10? How do I make it a 4? How do I make it a 5? You just need to take it a little bit at a time. So after a bit of thought and playing around with this and changing the wording a little bit and thinking what I really need, this is what's going to be appearing in my certainly the initial Wheel of Life. And that's what we'll be tracking, and that's where my goals are going just now. General fitness, focus / brain fog, stamina. I think that's a good way, because when you think about it, that's a good way of measuring fitness as well, and also losing weight will help the stamina as well. So different things can build into it. So that's how I'm going to look at that one. Structure. One of the videos earlier went and said how much structure I need in my life. So I'm going to put structure in. That's something that I've not really had recently. I've had lots of routine, but I haven't had structure. Is weight and nutrition. One that will also help is weight and nutrition. I know that stamina, I went and said about the weight there, but also it's a specific thing that I want to look at, but not just weight. I want to look at nutrition as well. A lot of this is because I am constantly tired. Sleep. I am rubbish at that. I love staying up far too late. And because there's no structure, see how these things tie together? Because there's no structure, there's nothing to stop me staying up late. And so that affects stamina, brain fog, structure, weight and nutrition. Funny how all these things work. And I suppose, just for the fun of it, although I'm pretty good at this already, for weight and nutrition, I can also put in hydration. And those are the sectors of the Wheel of Life that I'll be using to track what I want to do between now and next January. Why next January? Because that's when my birthday is. So that's it. I'm going to be setting myself a challenge, sharing that challenge with you, and hopefully it helps you. And if there's anything that resonates, feel free to get in touch, put stuff in the comments. I'm also interested if anybody wants me to answer any questions. The Monday video, where I'm just doing more talking, is going to be more about that. So if you have any questions about coaching, well-being, or anything like that, feel free to get in touch. Thanks a lot. See you in the next video. Bye.